Um, so one of the fun things that I had with Ula, and obviously I'm in the later years, or the second half, if you will, is being, watching the various boys come through the house, right? So there's all these, I went through it, right? So I came in, and I'm dating Liz, but she's the oldest, and I'm always trying to help out with dinner time and get the plates and bring them into the kitchen and clean, help prepare a little bit. And I'm usually there when I was at the house, this was over the course of many years, as an undergrad, I had plenty of time because it was usually during the school break or summer or what have you. I'd be driving kids around, so I was very helpful. It's not actually so hard to be the boyfriend of the oldest daughter. The youngest might be a little harder because there isn't as much to be done at that stage, I think. So, I would sit at the table. I would have discussions with all the kids. I would have discussions with Ula. But Ula, it was interesting. When he spoke in Norwegian with people that were coming through the house, it was very rapid and lucid and quick and laughing. But with the English, for some reason, it just tended to really slow down a lot. I was doing that with Liz the other day, and she kind of laughed. And sometimes he might have had a glass of wine, to be fair. Sometimes his English would get even more heavily accented with Norwegian. And so it would be a little tough to follow some of his stories, his points, and you'd really have to be patient. And he would engage me because I was being there and being a good future son-in-law and, just being polite to my host. And the girls would all take off. So it was just me. And it just felt like a lot of pressure sometimes. But but it was fun. But what was also really fun in terms of the contrast were, as I had been with the family for some time, and the girls, Steve and Willa and Erica and Caroline, the kind of that second generation coming through, would bring boys home. And boy, was it fun to watch them on the hot seat. So many of them just couldn't handle it. They didn't know what to do with this man. It was the same routine. Some would get up and help, and some would do this, and they'd move around, and I would just sort of have just some fun. Maybe I'd have a beer and kind of laugh, and I'd try to move it along a little bit now and again. But I wasn't going to let them get up before I was going to get up. That's for sure. So those are some generally fun memories that I have of interactions, and those went over the course of years and I guess decades at this stage. It's been, how long has it been? So I met Ula. Remember, Liz and I started dating at the end of January 1985. We had met at UCLA before school started the week before. So it took us about 4 months or so before we started to date. And we came up north with one of my roommates, and nobody knew we were dating. We had just started, so I'm not sure it was like a formal situation. And we came up, and she introduced me to her parents, not as somebody she was dating, just as a friend that we came up with. And Ula had come in with a tray. We sat down, and Kari was very sweet and nice, and Ula came out with an apron and a tray with food on it, and tea or coffee. I was still drinking coffee at that time because that's a whole other story why I stopped. But it is a Norwegian story. That's for another person at some other day. Anyway, I'll have to edit this part out. Edit.
Then I'll laugh.
So anyway, Ula comes out with a tray with all this food, and I just thought, what a nice, gentle way of greeting me. Doesn't even know who I am. He was his facial features were I can't say that it's not something I hadn't seen before, but it's just so unique. So I guess by definition I had not seen it before, but very different. Trubik, lots of lines to the face, the kind of a bulbous nose, the heavy accent, the gray hair, the pot belly, serious demeanor, but very giving and charitable. And I had such an amazing first impression. And all those things are true, but the impression also was not true at the same time. I'm not sure I was ever served the same way by Ole. He was certainly on his best behavior, and his daughter had come home on a surprise visit from her first year out, and it was just a nice, lovely time. So those are just a couple things that I remember. I've got a lot of them. One more. So let's see. At the end of that year, that first year of school, and I think into the second one, and there was probably a few more years as well. I used to come up on the weekends or spend even longer, depending upon my work schedule. And we would go out to Angel Island, and he had a boat, and I think that was the Caroline. He named all of his boats after his various children in order. And we used to go out to Angel Island and just, anchor there and put down traps and get all sorts of crab, and I came to love crab and eat a lot of fish in the house, which I'd never really done before. And just kind of remember those sunny, warm days and the kids and the whole family, and it was a lot of work, and he just made everything happen. Everything was ship-shape, and it was kind of like MacGyver, which 20, 40, 50 years from now, if this still survives, was some TV character that could take a nail and turn it into, like a helicopter or something crazy. Just could do so much with so little. So those were a lot of fun, good days and memories, and it's nice to have a lot of people thinking about them.
So, having been the cameraman for most of this stuff, there's been a lot of discussion of how patient Ole was, how even-tempered he was, and I saw all that. However, I started coming around in February of 1985, when Liz was the oldest. She was 18, just turned 19, and I saw all those girls come through that house. And I can testify here and now that he wasn't always so patient, so level, and as understanding. He probably was, as could best be expected given all that chaos and those girls and the craziness. But I was in the car with him once or twice, just him and me, when he was talking about just how rude it was to be late all the time. And it was kind of funny. But I sort of treasure those moments of seeing the fun captain. Well, he wasn't fun, but just like it going against the grain. So how he handled all that lateness and tardiness, I don't know. I suspect he was actually part of the problem and structured such that he wasn't, because the captain can be as late as he wants to be. And so he might have instilled some of that and not known it. But anyway, that's what I have to say.